Hey y'all, this is LaLa at LaLa Farm. Today we're going to be going over some basic things to look for when you've got a sick goat. But before we get started, make sure you subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell for future content. Let's get started. So when a goat gets sick, a lot of times people want to jump to the extreme. Shut up, chicken! You made me lose my train of thought. So when a goat gets sick, a lot of times... We're never going to get through this, I swear. When a goat gets sick, a lot of times it's usually something simple. The rooster's getting ready to crow again. Stop, go away. We're going to switch positions. So when someone has a sick goat, it's usually something simple, okay? But people have a tendency to overlook the simple things or not consider the simple things before they move on to, okay, how am I going to treat this goat? Or, you know, I think it's this, so I'm going to treat him this way. Or they make assumptions that it may be something a little bit more extreme. It's usually not the case that it's extreme, okay? Polio, listeria, meningeal worm, those are extreme things that I'm talking about. Those aren't your typical things that goats run into on a regular basis. Usually it's something simple, okay? So there's 3 basic things that I recommend you do before you do anything else. So the first thing I check, number 1, before I do anything else, is check their famacha. Famacha is a scoring that is used to check a goat for anemia, okay, to see where they are with regards to anemia. The scale is usually, it's a 1 to 5 scale, 1 being the best, bright red, 5 being the absolute worst is white. If you've got a goat, you'd love to see all of your goats in that bright red. Usually they're around a 2. I mean, I have several that are that solid red color, and I love to see them, but they're usually around a 2. So, but if you get a goat that is 4, 5, those are times that you want to act quick because there's something that's really making them anemic. Especially if they are in the 5 range where their eyelids are white, the probability of death is very high. Okay, that means that they're deeply anemic. All right. The second thing I look at, which is very critical, is temperature of your goat. Okay, goat's temperature ranges from 101.5 to 103.5, regardless of the age of the goat. Newborn, geriatric goat, whatever you want to call it, their body temperature rectally will be between 101.5 and 103.5 is the normal range. The reason why it's so critical to take a goat's temperature, if their temperature is high, then you know that there's something going on. It may be some type of infection. The other reason why you want to take their temperature is not just if they're running a fever, okay? If a goat goes hypothermic, that is where their body temperature is 100 degrees or less. That can be a critical point as well, okay? That means that they're cold from some type of situation where they're losing their body heat, or they're already in the process of dying. That's why it's very critical that you take their temperature, especially when it comes to young kids, whether they're just born up to, you know, even, you know, a couple months old or so. If you have a kid, or any goat really, that their temperature is 100 degrees or below, do not feed them, because their body cannot process the food. And a lot of times, frequently, I have seen where people have, you know, posted on different forums that I'm in, or even sent me messages saying, you know, this baby is sick, and and I pulled it from the mom and I'm bottle feeding it, but I can't figure out what's wrong and it seems to be getting worse. The first question I ask, number one, what is the body temperature of that baby? Because it's not going to digest, and you can actually cause death by feeding a goat that's hypothermic. So always, always, always take a temperature. The third thing I do is I check their poop. Goats' poop should be like berries, okay? They should be round, they should be firm, not hard, not dry and brittle when they first come out. They should be round, they should be firm, they should be like berries. They shouldn't clump together. Even if they're berries, they shouldn't be clumping together. They should break up and fall apart. That is what normal goat poop looks like. If you get something that is the consistency of dog poop, I know this grosses you out, I got it in my hand, but this is the consistency of dog poop, okay? So if you get something like this, you need to be looking at your goat, okay? And the reason why you should be looking at your goat is because dog poop like this, consistency, could indicate that they have worms. It could indicate that they're, having some digestive issues and whatnot. So those are things that you want to look at that. If I come across one of my goats that has diarrhea, before I treat them at all, the first thing I do, of course, is the famacha, and then the second thing is the temperature. Before I treat them for the diarrhea with any type of, medication or Pepto or anything like that, I isolate them from the herd, and I give them clean water, fresh hay, and I put out some baking soda for them. Take them off from grain, because that's not going to help them at all. And see if it clears up within 18 to 24 hours. And it usually does, because it's usually they've, either gotten into something or they overate or something stressed them to cause them to have diarrhea, that type of thing. And so I'll just isolate them, check them after, 18 to 24 hours and make sure the diarrhea is cleared up. I will also follow up with doing a fecal sample and looking at it under the microscope. I recommend you do that if your goat continues with the diarrhea or if you suspect they have worms anyway. But that's a whole nother video, so we'll be doing that later on. Those are the things that I look for, and those are the things that I do. Those are the basics. Try to keep it simple, so that the simple things that could be wrong with them, I find them early. So one thing I do recommend, even if your goat is not sick, if you can get your hands on a goat, check their famacha. A goat's famacha can go down pretty quickly, meaning they can go anemic pretty quickly. It takes a long time to bring a goat's famacha up from being anemic, though. You're not going to see, if you treat them, you're not going to get a famacha of 2 from a famacha of 4 within a matter of 2 or 3 days. It takes a good long time to bring that back up. So it's good to be proactive and monitor their famacha as much as you can, so that you can see if something's changing in that goat. And if you get your hands on your goats, which again, I know a lot of people can't do that because their herds are so large, but try to be as proactive as you can. I recommend that you do a famacha check as often as you can. To conclude, a lot of times people look to the exotic reason for their goats being sick, and most of the time that's not the case. Even when it is something extreme like pneumonia, be very vigilant when it comes to parasites, because a lot of times when a goat gets pneumonia or some type of other illness, it's because their immune system has been compromised due to a worm load. So that's why you want to make sure that you stay on top of that as well. So just remember, when you see a goat that's sick, start with the basics. Keep it simple to start out with. And if you can't figure out what's wrong with them, you'll want to know those things anyway. That way when you contact your mentor or your vet, you can tell them, hey, this is what my goat's famacha is, this is what their temperature is, this is what their poop looks like. And the vet may be able to walk you through a few things as well, at that time just by telling them those 3 things. I hope you found this helpful. If you'd like, you leave any questions or comments below. We're always looking for new content, so if you've got any ideas or things you want to hear about, leave that down there as well. Also, remember to subscribe and ring that notification bell. And remember, always be kind to each other. Thanks for watching.